After more than a month away from home, the Sooners are back in Norman. I'm Ryan Aber from NewsOK.com, here with Jason Kersey. Jason, a lot of questions surrounding the OU team entering this game Saturday, 11 a.m. against Kansas State. What's your number one pressing question?
I want to know what the offense is going to look like. That feels like a question I've asked here before, but I think that, with Trevor Knight's running ability, we know what he can do when he's given the opportunity to run the ball. He hasn't had that chance much this year, and I think that if they allow him to do it, which Bob Stoops hinted that they might, then that could really open up the offense, and this would be a good time to try and start doing that.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with how OU covers Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett had a massive game last year in Manhattan. They had to shift their coverage around. Zach Sanchez has been fantastic in coverage the last couple weeks. Everybody else, though, has really struggled, so I'm wondering how they're going to handle that. Jason, a lot of players, likewise, with something to prove in this game tomorrow. Who's your guy?
I'm going with Blake Bell. I think this is number one, a game that he can really show something to NFL scouts. The switch to tight end was made in large part because he wants to try and play that position in the NFL. He thinks that's his best shot, but also because he didn't get a chance to play against Kansas State last year. And 2 years ago against Kansas State, he fumbled in the inside the 5-yard line in a critical play, and that wound up being a really close game. And the year before that, Kansas State was where the Belldozer was introduced. So he's got a lot of history with Kansas State. And I think that this game could be really critical for him.
And finally, I'm going to go with Deron Neal. Deron Neal, as you thought that he's right on the cusp of having a big breakout game, hasn't quite made that happen. Oklahoma really needs a secondary receiving performance behind Sterling Shepard, and there's no better time than this one. Jason, finally, we made a predictions tomorrow, but what's your bold prediction for this Kansas State OU game?
I'm going to go with sort of what your question earlier. I'm going to go with Tyler Lockett having another big game. I think that Tyler Lockett presents some problems for the secondary that's really struggled some in the last couple weeks. He's a great receiver, and I think that he's going to have another big game in a Kansas State win.
And I'm going to go with Trevor Knight rushing for at least 80 yards and 1 touchdown. Oklahoma really hasn't taken the reins off Trevor Knight. They're going to have to. I know they're concerned about injury, but if they're going to win games, win the Big 12, make a run at making the 14 playoff, they're going to have to take the reins off Trevor Knight, and I think it's going to have to start in this game Saturday. Finally, Jason, what's your prediction for the game?
I'm going with Kansas State, 31-28. I think that the Wildcats are right now, to me, look like the better team. I think that they proved 2 years ago that they're able to come into Norman and leave with a win, and I think that's what they're going to do behind a big Tyler Lockett performance.
And I'm going to go with Oklahoma to pull out a close win, 17-14. I think it's going to be really low scoring. Defenses are going to get the best in this game, but I think OU, their offense is going to be just good enough to score on the Kansas State defense. They're going to get it done. Jason, should be a fantastic game. Saturday, again, 11 a.m. on ESPN. You can check us out every day at NewsOK.com and every morning in the Oklahoman for the best OU coverage anywhere.